This is chapter 2 with you, with REVA, and with Neel. And all this time, we got design wrong. We thought it was the space. It was about a space, about a room, the colors, decorations, trends. But it was a feeling, actually. And Neel, what do you think about that? When you think about the design and the feeling it gives us, do you think can it actually make people happier, or can it affect our mood?
Firstly, thank you very much, Denise, for having me. It is chapter 2, like you said, and it's wonderful to be back here talking about my favorite subject, design. And coming to your question, yes, absolutely. Just walking into this space itself makes you calm down a little bit, right? When you're rushing, life is very fast, you're rushing, you're running around. But when you come into certain spaces, they force you to calm down. They force you to take a breath and just sit down and collect your thoughts. And that is the power of design. There are so many large churches that you go to, and the sheer volume, the proportions make you feel the presence of God, right? Or if you go to a mosque, like for example, the Zayed Mosque, it always makes us feel so serene, so calm, peaceful, exactly. And that is the power of design. Design is not just about, like you said, very rightly, not just about the materials, not just about, what accessory or how can I make it very expensive. One can have the most expensive marbles of the world, but if it's not right for that space, it's not going to make you feel anything.
Right. And all this time, we didn't think about the impression it leaves on us. But actually, the most important thing was that the feeling and the impression. When you walked into a room, did you feel uncomfortable? Or why, if you experienced it, why did you feel uncomfortable?
Yes, absolutely. These are, there are so many spaces that you walk into and you feel like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't feel very comfortable. It's not necessarily the reason why you are there. Like, what I'm saying is there are certain places that you have to be in because for unfortunate reasons. Like for me, I have to go to the police station multiple times to pay my fines. But still, the design of the space and the people, the energy, the materials, and everything can make you feel a lot more comfortable.
Yes.
If you know what I mean. There are spaces that I have walked into which is meant to be brilliantly designed, but just the lighting is so harsh, it's not convenient, or the temperature, the AC, the cooling is too much. Temperature is something that is we can go on and on about because currently the weather has taken a turn and it's really hot outside, versus when you come into spaces it's really cold. So the temperature difference actually helps you get a cold, just like how I have right now. So spaces definitely have the power to make you feel comfortable and to make you feel a lot more at ease.
Yes. And so then we can call it like spaces also have their own vibes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it really affects us.
Yes.
Right? True.
For sure.
But when we think about interior design, the first thing we start to plan is the decorations or the colors, or the colors are important, by the way, or the trends. We try to catch up with the trends.
See, trends are transient, right? It's like this with every passion. Like, for example, every part of design, whether it is fashion, whether it's interiors, whether it's architecture, whether it's anything, you name anything in design, everything is transient, especially when it comes to trends. A couple of years ago, nobody was wearing capris, right? Right now, everybody is wearing 3/4. Everybody's looking very chic with that, but it's going to go away in some time. A couple of years ago, we had capsule wardrobes. How can I maximize the number of clothes with just few pieces? But right now, it's all about maximalism.
Yes.
Right now, everybody wants to wear
or
as
can
many.
we say maybe minimalism?
Yes, absolutely.
In between.
Exactly, taking on from our chapter 1, of course.
Yes.
And now everybody wants to sort of add on, and everybody wants to bring in a lot more energy to their look and feel, right? So trends are transient. Something, contemporary design or modern design, everything that really stands the test of time and keeps moving forward is what I would
Yes,
like to
and
think.
those trends doesn't stay with you for a long time. After a while, you got bored, and when you get bored, you want to change something.
Yes, absolutely.
You answered. I was gonna ask a question. You answered it a little, but I still wanna ask it. What's the difference between timeless design and the most popular trends for the time?
See, at one point in time, again, to go back to what we discussed in the first chapter, is about minimalism. At one point, everybody wanted to have a very minimal space. But that's a trend, right? Now everybody's moving on.
It's yes.
Every year we have trends. Trends are very transient. Like I said, this is a 6-month period. For example, for Christmas, last year we had the Ralph Lauren style. Everybody was going into the moody tones, dark brown, etc. Whereas this year it could be completely different. Trend is the year, the color of the year.
Yes.
Every year we have a new color, so you play with that color. I think it was Cloud
Pantone,
Dancer.
yeah.
Yes, the Pantone's Cloud Dancer. So it keeps changing. Whereas timeless designs are, which truly, obviously, like the name suggests, stands the test of time, and it's going to be there for many, many years. And I don't think that interior design is, or architecture and anything related to design is something new. It's always been going on. Older buildings, architectural buildings that you see, the monuments which are there, they actually show you what design is meant to be. Somewhere along the time, everybody, a lot of people are coming into design, a lot of different ideas, people who have studied design or people who may not have studied, then design becomes a little more like decoration. Like you said, when people are thinking of renovating a house or thinking of buying a house, first thing they would be like, oh, I want this accessory, or I want this couch. But that's really not the most important thing, is it?
Yes, sure. And to me, there are some classical pieces for me. So I like to keep them with me for a long time. They are timeless for me. They are beautiful. They are maybe not always trendy, but they look good. And they are timeless for me, which I keep them. But of course, decorations and some maybe colors, some other accessorizes, they can change, right?
Sure, absolutely. Like you said, timeless pieces. That is, it could be a chair. Recently, I was talking to one of my very good friends, and in their office, they have this chair which has been with them for about 30 years.
Oh.
And what they do on a periodic basis is change the fabric. You change the upholstery of your armchair, and it gets a completely new life.
Yes.
And today we talk about sustainability, the kind of situation around the world where we are sort of maximizing waste, fast fashion, buy and wear something and use polyester, throw it. And the kind of trash that we are trying to create, if we can minimize that and reuse stuff, reuse armchairs, get fabrics which will truly stay the test of time, that is a much better way to design spaces.
Of course. And it would also support the circular economy as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. And before you told me luxury isn't about money, especially in design. What do you mean with that?
Sometimes when we think about luxurious spaces, we think that it has to have the most expensive marble, the
brands.
Brands, of course. It has to have hand-crafted, knotted rugs and
letters of the brands.
Yes, of course, absolutely. You need to throw an Hermes blanket on a couch, etc., which is great. That is definitely an aesthetic and definitely something which a lot of people think is luxury.
For some houses, they really look good.
Yeah, they look fantastic. I mean, I'm not going to disown that at all because that's part of one clientele that I have. But you can actually make a space look luxurious by planning it.
Yes.
Having a nice layout, planning all the furniture, making sure that the end user, whoever the end users are of that space, whether it is a residential project, whether it's a workspace, whether it's a restaurant, the circulation, the fact that everybody can move around, sit comfortably and have a conversation or whatever the purpose of the space is, that is met.
True.
If the lighting is suitable, the kind of lux level calculations that we do to maintain that. different kind of spaces, that is again luxury. Choosing the kind of colors that would actually make people feel the right emotion, that is also luxury. Luxury does not necessarily mean having a flamboyant back wall or a crazy floor
Yes.
element. It could just be thoughtful elements that will actually work for the end user.
Definitely. And it's also about being classy, right?
Yep.
Choosing the right things.
Yes.
The quality.
Absolutely.
I
You could
agree
have the
with you.
most expensive things sort of crammed into one space
Which
without thought
looks
process.
very cheap, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Or very small,
Yes.
but quality accessory,
Yes.
which changes all vibes of the house
Yes,
or
absolutely.
room.
I agree completely. See, I like to always sort of equate interiors to fashion or interiors to food. I like to sort of create that parallels. It's exactly like that. If I were to wear logo on logo on logo on logo,
Yeah,
it would look crazy,
sure.
right? But if I
Yeah.
were to put something which could be a nice piece from an older collection and then have one logo, we can sort of manage that. It's
Yeah,
about,
then it's not too
yes,
much.
it's not overwhelming. Exactly.
Yes. It, especially for the houses, it can be exhausting for people.
Yep.
I mean, then I have one more question for you. In your career, in your business life, tell me one design decision you make, and or in general, for all of us, you can advise us one big design decision that can impact our all feelings and the vibe. Which would be the biggest impact and the decision while renovating or decorating the house, maybe?
Yes. If you were to renovate your house or redecorate or any space, I think the first thing that a lot of people don't think about is again planning, spatial planning. The correct position of your sofas, your couch, the TV, all of those things really, really matter. Because that again moves, like I mentioned earlier, the movement of spaces, the movement of ease is very important. That is the first element. If you want to buy, you can buy furniture, you can buy accessories, but these are all add-ons. You can keep buying them over the years, over months, etc. But if the initial space planning and the lighting is not correct, nothing really works.
So opening Pinterest and Instagram and choosing the colors and the furnitures, starting like that, instead of, we should go for the more architectural and technical part.
Yes.
And the space, right?
100%. A lot of people, like you rightly said, everybody initially, when you think about renovation, the first thing that people think about is going to Instagram
Yes.
or Pinterest or now even ChatGPT, because everybody is a designer right now with the.
What do you think about the inspiration of Instagram and Pinterest?
See, each to their own. I won't say that no, you shouldn't do it. But everybody should know when to stop and when to draw a line. And also realize that is not the most important thing. The most important thing, like you rightly said a little before, is that the architectural element, the planning is most important. It's just like this, right? If you're planning to go on a trip, holiday, the first thing is not to open Pinterest and look at the clothes. It's also to think about where you're going to stay, how are you going to get there, what are the requirements.
Definitely.
So the planning is the most important thing. So if you have a space, you need to know, this is my space and I'm going to make this a work office. What are my requirements? Are you a podcaster? So then I need my cameras. I need to store all my cameras. I need to store my mics. I need to have a comfortable chair. I need to have the correct lighting. If I have a window, what kind of curtains that I need to do? Not the color, but the fact that it should be blackout curtains so that the light doesn't come in. So these are the fundamental basics that you need to list down.
Definitely.
And then you can look at the colors and the textures and the vibes. And always having an interior designer is, or especially a design and build firm for you, is that they will hold your hand from the beginning till the end. So that, if it is a podcast studio, for instance, you have just a blank space till you enter the space and start your first podcast. They will hold your hand and take you through the entire journey.
I mean, imagine you have a living room.
Yeah.
But before that, you bought your sofa,
But you'll be
which
so
is
surprised.
big.
You'll be so surprised with the number of clients I've met
And
who've already bought the
yeah,
sofa.
you leave that.
Yeah, they tell you that
Then
this,
you cannot fit it,
no. Exactly.
You just bought it because you liked it.
Yes.
But the living room,
Yes.
the space is not enough.
Yes, absolutely. We've had situations like that when we meet the client for the very first time, and they said we don't know about anything else, but we've got the main lounge sofa. But how do we work with that? Of course, we work with that. That is our challenge. We love design challenges. We want to work with whatever questions and whatever challenges you have. We want to solve it, but that is really not the right way to start a project.
Yeah. This gives the most impact, and we don't think about it when we start to thinking about design of our house, right?
Yes. But that's okay, right? This is my expertise. So I don't expect a lay person or a common person who's not into design to understand the importance
If
of it.
they work with somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're working with a designer, I would say that you should let the designer design for you.
Because people nowadays like to, as you told me, design with AI.
Yep.
And bring it to life.
Yes.
Even some of them try to build some parts of the rooms by themselves, which then they have problems, of course.
Of course. Again, I will not say that we shouldn't use AI. I will never say that.
All of us use.
Everybody
for
should
the
use.
edits, for the everything.
Yes. No, even for design, if you want to find your sense of style, you want to find your sense of kind of look and feel for your space, please go ahead. But that is not the be all end all. There are a lot of technical aspects to it.
Of course.
And those aspects cannot be really tackled by AI. You need to have an industry expert.
Sure.
You can ask ChatGPT to create a nice outfit for you, but you do have to go to the tailor to get it altered and stitched exactly for it. You can't expect to do it yourself. Well, there are people who stitch by themselves, but that's not the point. The point is that we need to use the expertise of people who are in the industry. It's same like going to a doctor. When you go to a doctor, you have to listen to what the doctor says. I like to think that all experts need to be utilized for their expertise.
And can we say that REVA is mostly on the technical part?
No, we don't. It's we start with. It's a combination of design and build, right? It's a combination of concept and technical. There is no point of having a great conceptual design if it's not technically feasible.
Sure.
Right? I can show you some really crazy curves and really crazy elements, but if I don't know how to construct it, if I don't know how to build it, there is no point. So at REVA, what we do is that we like to give them concepts that is feasible to the space, to the height, to the proportion, to the rhythm of the room. And then, of course, make it technically feasible.
From A to Z, you do anything.
Yes, absolutely.
What was the biggest challenge for you when you were building REVA?
So before I built REVA, I mean, we're still building, yes.
It never ends.
No, I don't think so. No, not anymore. I thought that initially when I was starting the company, I thought that getting a license and setting up a website and starting work is done. But it's really not. We're constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly learning, which is great because I'm somebody who really loves to learn.
It's the journey.
Yes, and knowledge is truly, I believe that knowledge is power. We have to get knowledge from every and any space that we can. But while building REVA, one of the first things that I had to learn is that I cannot just be a creative person anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I need to be a business person as well.
Oh, okay.
Right? Earlier, I thought, and I still sometimes say this as a joke, that talking about money is a little bit vulgar. Like, this is what I need and this is what I whatever, that whole haggling process. But now I understand it's not haggling, it's negotiating for what you need and setting up these processes, setting up SOPs, making sure that the business runs properly, auditing, all of these crazy, these nitty-gritties are coming forward.
Yeah, but that part is also very difficult.
Yes.
To me,
the creative part is not difficult, it's great.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I'm on the creative part right
Yes.
now for my company as well.
Yes.
When I started to act as CEO and the founder, first few months I was like, oh, it's really nice, and taking the decisions, managing everything, and yeah, I'm doing it. I'm okay. But then I saw that it's not like that, and
Yeah.
it's something really difficult,
Yeah.
really stressful. You need to learn a lot as well
Yeah.
in that part. But you also need to be good with numbers,
Yeah.
which I'm not. That's why I'm on the creative part.
Yes. Yes.
You need to love what you do, right?
Yes, absolutely. And there's no cutoff. You never stop working.
No, never.
Earlier, it was just my brain constantly thinking about the projects, thinking about what I could add to certain projects. But now it's also actually sitting down, doing accounts, looking at how we need to send the invoices, follow up for
Financial
payments.
sides.
Yes, follow up for payments from clients.
Yeah. You should.
Yes, and of course, VAT. I never did any sort of tax situations throughout my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I've lived in Dubai my entire life, so tax
Yeah.
is non-existent.
Yes.
But now, when we have corporate
Yes.
tax, filing for VAT,
Yes.
looking at the audit reports, a whole new world.
Is there any misconception in hiring an interior designer?
Yes. Well,
What is that?
everybody wants to do the pretty things.
Yes.
Right, everybody wants to spend a lot of time on Pinterest and on the internet looking for inspirations
houses.
and creating those things. But the whole challenge, like I mentioned earlier, is to make sure that it's feasible. If that is not feasible and if that is not going to be done, then it's a little bit challenging. We've been conducting a lot of interviews to find the right. I mean, we're a young company, we're a young studio, and we want to make sure that everybody who comes into the team is the right fit. And sometimes talent is not the entire thing. If I were to choose between a candidate who is very talented and had
A good
not so
eye,
great,
maybe.
not so great attitude, I would not go for that person. I would go
Okay.
for something or somebody who has a great attitude, can do, excited to
Discipline.
work, yes, disciplined, a little crazy, a little quirky, a lot of personality. I would definitely go for that person because you can learn on the job. You can learn how to become a good designer.
I agree.
But you cannot learn sometimes. Maybe you can, I don't know. But generally, your attitude, your personality is something a little set, especially when you meet people in their mid to late 20s. Who they are is determined already. It's going to be very difficult to sort of flip that or change that.
True. Do you have, of course, all of us have mistakes in our businesses. Do you have any mistake that you cannot forget about you did during your career?
So many.
What is the biggest one?
I think, it's not, these are mistakes. None of them are massive. They're small mistakes that you keep learning on a regular basis. Sometimes you take things for granted, that you think that things will move. If you have a large team and you've already sort of given the instructions to everybody that it has to move in a certain way, and you're busy doing your own stuff, and you don't check in on them or even see whether they need help, you think that everything is moving in the right direction. But that whole not keeping your eye on the ball is a mistake that sometimes I have done before.
Right? Okay.
I feel like it's a system. Everything sort of moves in parts because it's like a machine, but they are not machines. We are all human beings. We need that one-on-one time. We need to have that conversations. We need to have sometimes to just sort of break away from work and sit outside and get your creative juices flowing or have conversations. So that is something that I think something creative like design definitely requires that one-on-one conversations with your team, building the right team, making sure that everybody is comfortable and happily working makes a huge difference.
Having a team is also difficult, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think
Um,
so. I mean, for me, it was like that at least. I mean, managing people is difficult. Even people in your house, when they work for you, nannies or helpers, even that is sometimes difficult. And having a team in your business is really stressful sometimes. Of course, not always,
yeah.
but
So I've been very lucky because when I was working as well, for the past so many years, I've slowly had the opportunity to build teams. So I've led teams, large teams, 10, 15, 20 people teams across different disciplines, not just design, sales, estimation, pre-contracts.
yes.
So all these disciplines have different kinds of people. The designers are creative, they want to create and, be excited about the kind of projects that they get. The estimators are a little more mindful about the costing and they're worried about expensive materials and how they'll manage that. The sales team is go, go, go. I've met the client, I want the design today. And the bid team is always crunched for time. So these are the different teams that I were working with. And managing all these people, their expectations, their time frames, their personal lives. I know it is challenging, but I really enjoy that. I really thrive on that. On the good days, there are certain bad days when
Yeah,
everybody's
sure.
sort of arguing with each other, and you
Sure.
just need to be like a referee standing with your whistle and sort of
Yeah. If you have the right people, then
yes,
in the end, it will be good.
yeah, yes, that is true. I feel all people are good people. It's just that how we interact with them and what they expect from us.
Yeah.
Everything is sort of a give and take, right? When we hire people, when right now in REVA, we've hired a lot of people. When we're hiring them, what we see is what can you give the company? What can you provide to REVA? What expertise are you giving to us? And what can REVA
Get. Yeah.
give you instead as well?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not just talking about insurance, great insurances, great
No,
work-life
sure.
balance, but also the
Experience.
opportunity to meet the clients,
Yeah.
the opportunity to pitch your own design, the opportunity to do something crazy and not be shut down saying that, no, this idea is a little too crazy. So I always like to see what I can give you and what you can give me.
Yes.
So it's very clear because nobody's doing anything just for,
No.
you know.
I love buildings. And I want to really explore that as well. Maybe next time, but yeah, I have one question only for the buildings. If you can give us only one thing, what would it be? What is the most important thing for the building aesthetic when you construct a building? First, what would you go for?
Planning.
Again, right?
Yes, absolutely. We at REVA don't do architectural buildings, but we do residential villas, etc. The residential villas where we have in Dubai Hills and Emerald Hills and Emirates Hills. What we like to do over there is make embellishments.
Okay.
Make those kind of changes for sure.
And one more question for you. Does REVA has any special upcoming project or any
we're working on a few
maybe
exciting
confidential,
things.
you don't need to say, but maybe you can give a little.
We're working on something very interesting. We're working on a beautiful experience center, very colorful experience center, which is there. It's a government project again, and we're very excited about it. The design is completed. The client is very happy with the design, if I can say so myself. Now we're just waiting for it to be constructed. So very exciting times. And more importantly, we're actually working with Surge. Surge is a non-profit organization. It's a charity organization that helps with providing water and all these kind of basic amenities, educating children about mental health. So we're working with them, and we're doing a project every year. They do this project where we have to build a nice product that will be auctioned off,
Okay.
and the proceeds go to the charity again.
Oh,
So
perfect.
this year, REVA is competing for the very first time. We've had our workshops, and we're very excited about to see how the end result is going to look like.
Yeah, perfect. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with me.
Thank you very much, Deniz.
I want to close again with the first sentence when we started, the feeling of the houses. So it's right that they can actually make us happier or down. They affect our mood. So when we try to choose the furnitures, the decorations, right? We shouldn't forget that the most important thing in our houses is the feeling that gives us, the impression it leaves on us. Would you like to add anything?
No, I think you've perfectly summed it up. Having that emotional connection with spaces is very important. I've recently said this, that if you're not able to work or be comfortable in your house and you have to step out of your house and go to a cafe and work over there is something clearly missing in your house.
There is something wrong, right?
There is something wrong. I'm a homebody. I love staying at home.
Me too.
If I'm not traveling outside the country, I'm at home. So it's obviously because it's very comfortable and I have my 2 cats, but that's the kind of feeling that you should have. To look forward to go home and sit in your space and really sort of take the energy in and revitalize yourself. So feelings are the most important thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.